We are live. So, Matt, we had a chat yesterday with Arnulfo Hernandez, and he's like a talented SE on the federal government team. And he's a great speaker, and he's got great abilities, and I think we could all learn from him. But today we've got another special guest.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I've worked with him like since day one, since I've been on the job too. So I'm excited that we're bringing in Buu Lam. He's our West Coast SE. And I think it's going to be exciting to have him on here. Do you want to just pop him in there, Robin? We'll take it from there.
There he is.
Hey guys.
Buu. Hey, thanks for joining us, Buu.
Well, thank you for having me after all this time.
We were both just saying we've been working with you for a long time, and I'm personally thrilled to get a chance to talk to you because you and I have been coworkers for 6 years now, I think, and I've known you for probably 10 years, and you've been an important part of the sense of community that I have in feeling included as part of a group. And you've been a great influence on the team, encouraging us to think about more than just work and personal health and finances and family and mental health and things like that. And so I've learned a great deal from you.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, such a leader on our team in Canada too. So when we had like a Canadian business unit as well too, I felt like totally a leader for not only the SEs but anyone in Canada to kind of make it feel welcome as well too. So for what you've done for me on the team as well too, I really appreciate it, and just want to say thank you as well.
Well, I appreciate that, guys.
So preceding that, like we introduced and said who you are, but maybe you want to just do a really quick intro to yourself, and then we'll kind of get into what the shtick is for what we're doing today.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, I am an SE with F5. So when I say SE, that means I'm what's called a solutions engineer. So I work with customers to figure out what kind of F5 solutions make sense in their environment, explain how that would benefit them, and then work with them towards eventually making a purchase. Being with F5 for about almost 9 years at this point, based here in Vancouver. But aside from work, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I got 3 kids. Those guys keep me really busy. Outside of that, I do like personal fitness. I like personal finance. Those are a couple subjects that I like talking about as well. So hopefully I'm developing into a well-rounded human being.
And I think that's a perfect intro, I think, for what is the content we're kind of going to be covering today, which I think I want to add too is that this is something I'm super proud of about F5 as well too, and fitting for this. So the whole idea of kind of the soul of F5 and what our leadership is kind of promoting to us as well too. So
yeah, oh, totally. I think, and I put this into, I put this onto my LinkedIn that I'll be on with you guys. And I put out there something that I wanted to talk about was be human first, and what that means for F5 and what that means for us as employees of F5. But it's been really cool to see, for those of you watching who haven't seen our CEO before, Francois, he has released some content recently within F5 that has been, something that's inspired. I think it's inspired me. I'm sure it's inspired you guys as well. But this call to action to be human first. So I actually transcribed a little bit of one of the videos that he sent to us from his home as he self-isolates as well. But I'll read this to you guys, and maybe this will kind of lead us into more discussion here. But he says, "It is during times like this when we have our greatest opportunity to show our communities, our colleagues, our friends, and our families the best of who we are. I have always wanted F5 to be a platform for each of us to express our humanity. This is the moment we must all do our part. And finally, human first is the most powerful when it is the most personal. Take this time to care for your families, care for your community, and care for yourself. Take this time to let your optimism shine, because this crisis will pass. And if we stand together and if we support each other, we will emerge a bigger, stronger, and even more human F5. So every time I read that, I'm like, this is awesome. Like he's doing what a lot of people feel like they should be doing right now. But he's empowered all of us to say, you know what, whatever we need to do, just go ahead and do it. We've had, so we had our end of our fiscal quarter just a couple of days ago at the end of March there. And so we have a team call among our region, and it was really cool to hear, our VP for our region kind of called out off the top of his head a whole bunch of acts that people kind of took on themselves to help out our customers, figuring out issues first and then worrying about the business side later. And we had like easily, Robin, you were on that call, I think, like we had easily a half hour worth of stuff that we could talk about, and even more after that we can go on with.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I normally see Francois and the leadership team once a year at ISC on stage. ISC is our international sales conference, and as you're saying, the other day that leadership team was on Zoom and we could see them on video, and there was something really touching about them being what I thought was so much even more accessible than seeing them up on a stage. I felt like I was, because they were in their homes, and I felt more connected to them than I'd ever felt before in that meeting. It was an interesting experience. And of course, then, Francois reiterated some of the things you were saying there, Boo.
Yeah, 100%. It's been funny because we've had all the tools that we're using right now for a long time. We've had tools to do video conferencing ever since I started at F5. We had WebEx back then. We had webcams on our computers this entire time. We have access to high quality audio, high quality video, all of these things. But I think it's almost sad to see that it took a pandemic for us to realize that we can use all those tools to get even more connected with each other.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that something like this brings us together, and nobody would have wished this situation, but there's some interesting developments for sure. It's hard to say that there's a silver lining in all this when there's a lot of suffering happening, and my heart goes out to all the people that are. It's hard to put words to how profound that is, but there is a new way of doing things with tools that we've had for a long time that are able to make us feel much more connected than we've ever been.
I would agree too. I think it's important. So I get that this is a grave situation, but it is important for us to take solace in the positives that we can draw out of this, and from being apart, how close we can be together. And I want to bring in to another point, if it's okay right now, guys, is another thing that Boo has had a very active role in playing here is connecting our teams and partners and customers all together with a daily get together that he runs on Zoom. So we do a conversation with, I guess, anywhere from like 30 to 50 people daily that we get together and have a drink with and have a talk with and share some jokes and talk about just what's happening, what's going on in our particular regions. And we do this with people, or Boo set this up to do this with people all across North America. Actually, Boo, do you mind if I share it in the notes here as well too? I'll share it in the chat too, so we can kind of get anyone else that's going to be interested or see this coming around.
Everyone's welcome. When I first started doing that, and it didn't have a name at first, I just called it the virtual break, and I didn't really know how long we'll do it for, if daily is a little bit too much. But as we started getting people on there, I should actually clarify too, it's an online virtual break. We have people, it's hosted on Zoom, so we can have tons of people on it. Everybody can turn on their cameras. Everyone can contribute to the conversation as well. But I also specifically say, like, if you want to go on and you just want to watch what we're doing, you want to lurk in the background, be a fly on the wall, that's totally fine too. I think the whole idea that I've ultimately realized that we've come to is that people just want to see other people. Some people want to see and interact with those people. It's one of the common things that, the three of us are in sales, and one of the common things that we're doing with customers is just going out and having a coffee or a meal with them, or drinks with them. And this is something that we are now forcing ourselves to do virtually. I do it myself with family outside of Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 at this point as well. But it's something that we can continue to engage with people on. And I think that's just, I've started to realize that kind of connection is what's drawing people to continue to join the virtual break, or the booze hour, we'll call it now, every day. Is just, you're hanging out with people. You don't have to talk about work. In fact, the first day I thought we would end up talking about work, and we've touched very lightly on work once in a while, but so much of it is just, we'll share memes, we'll play puzzles together for 30 minutes. We'll just surf the internet. Somebody brings up something that they just purchased, and they unbox it on air, like stuff that you would just talk to a customer or a partner or your colleagues about, and just hanging out. But some of the stuff that we don't get anymore because we're all stuck inside for a while.
I have a great Zoom background that I'm prepared for today's booze hour.
Right on.
It's interesting to see that, and I'm not sure if it was whose idea it was first, but it seemed like a logical thing to do, to go on LinkedIn and post pictures of your meetings that you're now using video for. And I don't know how many weeks ago it was now that we first jumped on the first booze hour and threw up some pictures. But since then, I've seen so many other people doing similar things all around the world. And I see, people in APCJ having meetings like that, and you'll see pictures of people that you had no idea they were your coworkers. And now I feel kind of like I've actually reached out to a couple of people just to say hi, and the world kind of gets smaller. And and each one of those meetings is kind of unique to that group of people. Like we've had like Adam Schumacher do some really silly things, and Peter Scheffler mixing drinks, and Daniel Edgar with his he had the treadmill with the background, and and the list goes on.
And we've even had people from outside of North America, right? Shane Singh is a guy that I interact with once in a while online. I've never talked to him voice-wise before, and I've never met him in person before. Yeah. And through this, he's been able to jump on. He's a guy that he's been at F5 probably longer than I have. And he's on the other side of the world, and he gets to come interact. And I feel that's like a human connection that we're making, despite that we're not in person together. There's a fellow Max from the Middle East who's joined as well. And he was joining just after going to the gym. So he was all sweaty, just telling himself off, but he said, hey, I wanted to, come on, connect with you guys. So that kind of stuff has just been really cool, really rewarding. I'll take only the credit of just opening up a Zoom call and then posting about this every day. It's all the people that are contributing in, that's really making this thing something fun for everybody else.
So what's the next booze hour? That's going to be happening in like 15 minutes, isn't it?
15 minutes. Yeah. So Fridays we try to, so now I set it for 30 minutes daily. On Fridays, we'll set it for an hour. The first couple booze hours were actual booze hours. So I went out before quarantine started, or the encouragement of self-isolation started. I went to the liquor store and I bought up a whole bunch of beer because I was like, okay, I got to be ready for this situation here. So I bought a whole stack of it, and I thought, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to go through these one by one. So I would take a picture and I would post it on LinkedIn and say, okay, I'm going to taste test one of these beers. I've since had to stop that. Drinking daily was not good for my health, I think. And so I'm already starting to see indications that I'm going to get a little bit fluffy over the next few weeks here. So I'm just going to do Fridays, but that shouldn't prevent anybody else from cracking one open on the daily if you like. But on Fridays, I will crack one open. I have put, I would encourage casual Friday attire. And I say that tongue in cheek because most people are wearing sweatpants anyways. You just can't tell.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we usually get like a really great turnout on Fridays, so it's pretty cool.
So I'll tell you one other thing too. So I did the same thing probably just before this happened. Before we knew the seriousness of this, I was like, oh, got to get to the liquor store. I got to get my pandemic booze ready. And I bought a ton of beer anyways, but it's getting low. So a partner of mine, we were talking about this. He's like, actually, I know a guy who, and this is just for Ontario. I don't know if you have something similar, know someone similar in Vancouver, but these are all the local breweries that deliver. I'm like, well, that's a handy list to have right now too for anyone who's kind of running a little low. I know maybe not essential, but it's a delivery, so it's keeping you from leaving your house and staying in and staying safe, right? So
yeah, that's awesome.
In the chat too.
Yeah, I mean, so, if you know I only have one local microbrew close to me, and there's a couple that are a little bit outside of me as well, but. I would go into there, and if I'm filling up a growler, if I'm there having a drink, you'll see the same person working there all the time. Well, we go back to having a human connection again, and we're able to see that person now delivering the beer to you. Now they're coming to your house, but it is kind of neat in that, you can still have a bit of an exchange there with that person that you wouldn't think that you'd get to have.
Yeah, there we go. One thing I've had trouble with is telling Monday from Tuesday and Thursday and Wednesday apart. I can't even get the days of the week straight. But Friday, I still know it's Friday. I'm like, this is it. This is the end of the week. I'm ready for this.
Yeah, it is amazing how the days are blending together right now. I think because they're all the same. Previous to this, every day would be very different for me, going out to see different customers, being in different parts of downtown or different parts of Greater Vancouver, or being in different cities, catching a flight or what have you. And so that variety just made the weeks go really quickly. But it also, it changed every day. So there was a good amount of variety, and that's taken some getting used to right now, I think.
Yeah. All right, so I think we should probably wrap it up pretty soon here. We're almost at our 20-minute mark, but I really appreciate talking to you online, Buu.
Well, thank you for having me, guys. Hopefully I get invited on again one day.
Of course.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's strange that we've waited so long to have Buu on too, but it definitely is our intention to have you. So we definitely will have you back for another session for sure. I have some security questions I've built up to ask you anyways, so we'll save those. And some automation, because I know you do a lot of the automation stuff as well too.
Cool.
I've got nothing else to add this. I need to go get a beer and set up my new background for Booze Hour.
Cool. Yeah, see you there in like 10 minutes.
All right, we'll see you guys all in 10 minutes. Boo, thanks very much.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, wait, let's do one thing that we always do. I don't know if I'm going to change that handsome photo I have for this session, but everyone has to do a smile into the camera so we have a nice photo in case we want to change the three of us. On 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, guys.
Cool.
All right,
see you in a bit, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.